Kukuru.
ここには暗殺一家で有名なゾルディック家の屋敷があります。まだ誰も見たことのないその屋敷を。ここは私ら使用人の家です。今夜はもう遅い。
Yeah, that door is not a normal door, is it?
さあ、どうぞ。
It's to keep him sharp.
彼はシークワンと。
Sequence.
私と一緒にここで働いております。
ゼブロに気に入られるとは大した連中だ。ま、ゆっくりしてきな。と言ってもこの家じゃそうもいかねえだろうがな。忠告しといてやるよ。諦めてとっとと帰るな。なんだと。
I mean, he's not
ゼブ
wrong.
ロから試しのもんのこと聞いてんだろ。だったらここがどういうところか分かったはずだ。
And this place as well.
俺は帰らない。キルアに会うまでは。俺、キルアが辛い時にそばにいてあげられなかった。あの時、俺がそばにいたら、絶対にキルアを止めたのに。キルアは俺の大切な友達なんだ。
ではしばらくここで特訓してみませんか。
特訓？
You might need it.
あの門はたとえ3人がかりでも開けば OK なんです。
Oh.
短期間でも訓練次第では不可能ではない。
試されるのは不本意だけど。
Yeah.
他に方法がないのなら
やるしかねえな。
But remember, the test is still going on. That test.
来てもらうものがあります。
Oh, is it going to be? Yeah, it is. Some kind of jacket. Yep.
それで50キロあります。寝るとき以外はいつも着ていてください。
Gets you used to it.
さあ、お茶をどうぞ。
You and the cups are, aren't they?
このポットも40キロあります。
Yeah, I heard.
家具、食器、すべて20キロ以上ありますよ。
どうせ2、3日で値を上げるのがオチだ。
Hold on, hold on.
トイレってどこ？
そこに見える扉です。
If you could get the door open.
あのトイレの扉。
ええ、もちろん500キロあります。
500?
500!
How badly do you want to go? Ooh. Oh, it's one of his family members, isn't it? Hey, look at this. Oh, is that Mom? Ah, she is bandaged up. Whoa. Interesting. Oh. Oh my god.
少しは反省したかしら？ダメだよママ。こいつちっとも反省しちゃいない。もっと気を据えなくちゃ。ミルキ。
ミルキ。Ah, that's the one.
キル、あまり意地を張らずに反省したと一言言えばいいのよ。ゴンとかいうやつ。さっさと帰ればいいのに、試しの門に挑戦するそうだぜ。
Huh, interesting. They told him about this.
ゴンが来てる。ミルキ、また余計なこと。
Miluki.
あのね、キル、今まで黙っていたのか。
Oh, I mean, they didn't tell him about it. Miluki
ママに
did.
向かってそのエゴサはなんだ。お前はお黙りというのに言う必要がないと思ったのよ、キル。あの門を開くなんて無理に決まってるわ。開く。
Interesting.
ゴンなら開くさ。でもね、たとえ門が開いてもここにたどり着くまで。
He'll make it. Yeah, he believes it.
きっと来る。必ずここまでたどり着く。
I mean, the mom certainly cares for him quite a bit.
お前は見学だ。
なんで？
She's got the one
まずは
arm.
腕を直すことが先決だろう。
俺とクラピカで開くことができりゃ問題なし。
うん
任せとけ。
He doesn't like that though, does he?
ねえクラピカ。
He doesn't like sitting it out or being handed something.
ダメだ。びくともしない。
Yeah, they don't have the ability to tap into that flow.
始まったばかりだ。頑張ればなんとかなる。
Let's go, Leo. Let's go. He's trying to sneak in push-ups. But this is good. This is good for them. Gone. Kids. He wants to see it happen.
ゴンは仲間だ。その仲間が大切な友達に会いたがっている。最後まで手を貸すのは当然だろう。
Yeah, he likes that.
よし、もう一丁行くか。
Oh. Move it just a bit. There you go. Tell him. Give him the technique.
タイミングを合わせて。
最大限の力を両方の扉同時に。
So I think I kind of misunderstood something in the last episode. I just thought they get to go through and they're in now. But no, they have to open it. It's a start. It's a start. Sure did. I like him. Sequent? Sequent? Here it is.
何？試しの門が。それで？
Interesting.
わかった。
Ooh, I'm loving this.
二人とも今日はそのベストを脱いで押してみなさい。
It's going to feel really strange. Oh. Oh. Ah. Gone. It healed? Oh, it's gonna hurt, Gone. Oh. But they know you're coming. I don't quite know the exact location. Sequent. Yeah, it's not smooth sailing. Yeah, there's going to be other challenges, right? Whoa. Whoa. Is that...
分相ってもんがあることよ。化け物ばっかりさ。雇い主も使用人も。
Yeah.
あそこ一歩越えたらな。
試しの門が開いたと。
はい。
キルは今が一番大事な時。他のものを近づけてはなりません。
Yeah. So they're going to send.
友達など無用なもの。
I mean, us as the audience knows they'll make it, but still. Uh-oh. That's her, right? From the flashback. That orb. Immediately.
せて。
Oh.
俺たち君と争う気は全然ないんだ。
理由は何であれ関係ないの。私は雇い主の命令に従うだけ。
Fair enough, fair enough. I like that. Staff though. Ooh. Who's
何度
this?
来ても無駄よ。
Oh, is that? Yeah, I saw her earlier. Is that sis? Little sis?
絶対に通れ。
Great shot.
お帰りなさいませ。キルア様。ああ。
Does she care for Killua?
友達。
And now she's seeing that friend. It's a tricky position for her to be in as well, right? She's doing her job, but clearly she has some kind of connection. Oh. He's a stubborn fellow, isn't he? Gone. Gone. Sometimes I say gone, sometimes I say gone.
あんたたちも止めてよ。仲間なん。 なんでかな。友達に会いに来ただけなのに、キルアに会いに来ただけなのに。
A lot of close-ups.
ことしなきゃならないんだ。殴らなくていいの。君はミケとは違う。どんなに感情を隠そうとしたってちゃんと心がある。
Yeah.
キルアの名前を出したとき、一瞬だけど目が優しくなった。
Okay, gone. Still watching.
お願い。キルア様。
Oh.
助けてあげて。
まったく使用人が何を言ってるのかしら。まるで私たちがキルをいじめてたみたい。ただのクソ見習いのくせして失礼。
Krapika, you see him? Look at this.
話は聞いてます。
Illumi.
あなたが邸内に来ていることもキルは知ってますよ。キルからのメッセージをそのまま伝えましょう。来てくれてありがとう。すごく嬉しい。
Now you can go.
でも今は会えない。ごめんな。
だがその前に立ちふさがった最大の壁は会えないというキルアからのあまりにも悲しいメッセージだった。
Okay, so there's apparently this message from Killua himself, right? From Kill, as his loving family calls him, right? I think I heard Illumi call him that a few times. But yeah, after essentially headshotting the apprentice, that young girl, who's really quite formidable, right? You even see her in that flashback as Sequant and his, I don't know, men or his group essentially attempt a raid on the estate. But they're all taken out by her. This really impressive butler apprentice who's essentially dead by the end of this, right? But, you know, isn't it so jarring? I mean, everything about this family is jarring, right? And I love it. I kind of love it. You know, I asked for this in the last episode. I was hoping for this, and I got my first bit of insight, my first proper introduction to at least a few of the family members, right? The most significant one being the mother at this point, right? And then, of course, you've got the chubby brother, Miluki. There's also the young sister in the kimono, who's usually found by the mother's side, right? She hasn't spoken yet. But before I actually get to see any of them, I get a bit of a, I don't know, precursor to this big introduction, right? Because I get one of those iconic silhouettes. I mean, this anime just loves its silhouettes, doesn't it? You know, initially, right in the openings, I get the silhouettes for the examiners, right? Then, of course, you know, that iconic moment of the Phantom Troop silhouette. And now I've got the family silhouette. And, of course, a few of them are accounted for by the end of the episode. And, of course, at least two of them are recognizable in Illumi and Killua, right? And then you see a few others. I essentially saw the head of the house, the father, right? Tall man. He appeared to be a little bit muscular. He had long hair. But, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. I've looked at it again. You know, maybe it could just be the placement, but it looked like Killua is holding hands with one of his siblings. It's not Miluki, you know, the chubby one, who clearly loves to dish out the punishment, who really likes to make Killua suffer, right? Really likes to mess with him. But you know, I'll be honest, at one point he didn't like how Killua is speaking with their mother, and he strikes him. You may have noticed me kind of nodding. I'm like, oh, you know, I don't, you know, yes, I know. The family dynamic is just mental. It is bizarre, of course. But the thing is, I think this is their normal. This is the norm. You know, they're not trying to behave like outsiders. They don't even really come across outsiders all that much. They're quite secluded, quite isolated. So I truly think this is their normal. Right? Even Killua being tied up in that dungeon, in the torture chamber, that felt like something that's, again, really quite normal, right? It felt like siblings bickering, you know? At no point did I really truly feel that Killua is in immense pain or he's suffering. Just the whole thing felt so casual, didn't it? Okay, Killua, you have to be punished, back into the torture chamber. But you know, the thing is, I actually do feel that the mother has a lot of love for Killua, that she does care for him quite a bit. Yes, of course, it's in her own unique way. I mean, yes, of course, from the outside looking in or from an outsider's perspective, this might not seem like love at all. Right? This might seem really quite twisted and really quite bizarre, right? But again, that's from the outside looking in. You know, they, again, seem to be living their life. This seems to be the norm. And yes, of course, you know, it's really quite unique and perhaps it's to be expected, or it's a type of love to be expected from a family of assassins, right? Their take on love. But yeah, as expected, that family dynamic is really quite interesting, isn't it? Fascinating. And I don't know, I'm really quite excited about more of this family, learning more about this family. And I just really enjoy the whole tone surrounding that family. Right? Even the theme that I get to hear in this episode, perhaps it is the family theme. Wow, really, really enjoyed that. And, you know, I also kind of get to hear a familiar theme from a few episodes ago. It's a theme that plays as Gon is taking that punishment, right? He's not fighting, right? He doesn't want to attack her. And I'm speaking of the apprentice, the young apprentice girl. But it's the same theme that plays a few episodes ago in the Killua and Illumi confrontation, right? Exact same theme, I believe. And of course, in both moments, in both those scenes, it is essentially about the devotion that these two have for each other. The devotion to the friendship that they've built up over a short amount of time. But it's been so impactful, right? There, it was all about Killua expressing his desire to become friends with Gon, right? Or Gon. And here it's all about Gon just wanting to see his friend, right? I think at one point he goes, I just don't understand the big deal. I just want to see my friend Killua. But yeah, I thought it was a really lovely use of that theme, connecting the two friends and connecting the two scenes, right? Their devotion to each other at this point. But you know, that scene in itself, Gon deciding to take the punishment. To me, it almost kind of even felt like a bit of penance, right? Because he made it quite clear that he's feeling guilty about this, right? That he feels that he should have been there. That if he was there, none of this would have happened, right? Of course, us, the audience, knows that he's being really incredibly harsh on himself because, of course, there's not much he could have done. I mean, the little homie was out the entire day, right? He was out like a light, knocked out from his Hanzo encounter. And then, of course, say if he was actually there, it could have become a trickier situation given Illumi's threats, right? But yeah, it doesn't matter. None of that really matters because the only thing that matters is that Gon actually believes that, yeah, he is to blame for some of this. He takes it upon himself. And, notice how he doesn't put any blame on Kurapika or Leorio. And then, of course, he makes that request of Kurapika and Leorio to not interfere, right? He does not want them to be a part of this. He does not want them to get hurt or take any sort of punishment because of this, right? He takes it upon himself. And of course, one thing that is so clear at this point is that Kurapika and Leorio are completely devoted to Gon as a friend. Listen, and I think that I've actually talked about this before as well. Gon and Killua, that's the special friendship there, right? Yes, Killua and Leorio had some moments with, sorry. I messed that up. Kurapika and Leorio had some moments with Killua, right? A lot of good moments, a lot of wholesome moments, friendly moments. They both even stood up for Killua near the conclusion of the exams. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it just did not matter, right? It doesn't matter if it's just Gon's friend, because Gon is one of us, as Kurapika stated, and he wishes to see his friend. It's only right that they help him, right? That's the only thing that mattered to Kurapika and Leorio, to make that happen for Gon, right? I thought it was incredibly touching to see the effort that they put in on Gon's behalf, right? Because of course at that point, they don't want Gon to really exert himself, right? Because of the broken arm or the healing arm. And it looks like it's healed up. By the end of it, it looks like it's back to, perfect condition almost. It was kind of tough to gauge the time that's passed throughout the span of this episode. I mean, it's certainly been days. I'm not sure if it's been like a month, perhaps much less than that, but it's been more than 6, 7, 8 days. That's for sure. I mean, ultimately, it's quite a condensed episode as well. A lot of it kind of plays out over the span of these 22 minutes. There's a whole really fun segment earlier on as well, right? The training montage, right? The strength and conditioning aspect of it. But going back to my point about Kurapika and Leorio respecting the wishes of Gon at that moment to not interfere and standing back. I don't know, that moment, the close-ups, the tight shots of both Leorio and Kurapika, really quite detailed once again. You see in those expressions that they are so devoted and they're so behind their friend, Gon. And, this is right after the apprentice girl is really quite frustrated and annoyed that, they're not stopping him. But it's precisely for that reason that they're not stepping in, because that's their friend. But yeah, of course, Gon also had a solid read on the apprentice, the girl, right? He saw the subtle change, or just the subtle shift in her eyes at the mention of Killua, that she does care for Killua, right? That she wants him to be happy. And she even, before she gets shot in the head, and I think it's safe to assume she's dead. Surely she's dead. I don't think that was a stun shot, right? And she shot out of that thing she was holding. I thought it was just kind of like a fan or something, though it did have that thing at the top of it, right? And also, before I forget, how about Killua's mom's visor that she's using? Really, really quite android-like, right? Cyclops, one red eye, and all that. I mean, she's bandaged, of course, because of that incident. Killua lashed out, and he, I believe the exact line of dialogue was that he slashed her face, I think. He slashed her up good for the whole face to be bandaged up like that. And then he stabbed Miluki in the side, I believe. But yeah, that kind of brings it back to the message, right? Now, of course, the immediate initial thought is, okay, of course, Killua didn't send this message, as, kind of set up a little bit earlier as well, as a butler. The leader of the butlers, I suppose, the head butler, lets the mother know that, yeah, they've gone through the gate, right? Because Sequant lets them know. He kind of snitches, I suppose. He's kind of tough to read, because on one end, he's really quite helpful. He's really quite interested in them potentially breaking through. I mean, he actually ends up being quite crucial in their breakthrough, right? Through the doors. Now, of course, it's a combined effort. Literally, it's a combined effort, right? But combined effort, as in Zebro, also gives them that hint or that piece of information that, it doesn't have to be just one of you. It can be a bunch of you together. It can be all of you together, as it is by the end of it, right? Even Gon kind of comes in on it by the end of it. And of course, Sequant has done it. He did it with his men all that time ago, 3 years ago to be exact. But of course, they ran into quite the speed bump. But then he ends up being employed by the family. And the thing is, through the people that are employed here, you can kind of get some openings, right? The family themselves are really quite interesting and really quite bizarre, of course. Really quite detached from everything. But the people like Zebro and Sequant, even though he's playing both sides in this one, and then you've got the young apprentice girl that just died. These are normal people that are just employed, right? They're not like the family. They don't function like the family. But yeah, ultimately they push in tandem. They time it. They time their breathing, and they go through. And yeah, like I mentioned, there was a bit of a misunderstanding on my end in the last episode. I thought, they're in now, that they go through. But no, ultimately it was more so Zebro showing them Mike, showing them that, or showing Gon specifically that, if you try this, this is on the other side. Right now, you came through the testing gate, so Mike is kind of chill about it, right? But ultimately, they still had to go through themselves, push through themselves. And then, of course, he offers them a place to stay, a place to train. He trains them essentially, right? That whole place, the whole house is equipped to keep them sharp, right? Because if you're going to be employed by them, he alluded to this in the last episode, Zebro, that is, right? They'll fire you. They'll let you go if you're not capable of opening the gate yourself, right? So you do need to be at a certain level. But yeah, once again, let me kind of circle back to the message, right? Of course, immediate thought is that, the mother is just making this up because she does not want these outside distractions. I think she said something like, or something along the lines of, especially something as unnecessary as friends, or something as useless as friends, or the concept of friends. And this is as she's speaking to the head butler, right? Who had quite the interesting reaction as Sequant lets him know about the potential of the gate opening, that, they might actually end up opening it. He holds his elbow, right? And they focus on that as well. So yeah, I'm sure there's something interesting there as well in terms of a potential backstory. But, in terms of the message, there is a possibility that maybe Killua is trying to protect them. Maybe he just doesn't want them to go any further. But, that kind of clashes with the scene a little bit earlier, right? As he finds out through Miluki, who's just taunting him, right? He wasn't supposed to share that information because it gets quite the reaction out of their mother as well, right? Who's just fed up with Miluki, isn't she? Right? And how he's treating Killua and how he is just kind of revealing a bit too much. He's a bit of a talker, isn't he? But yeah, their Killua is really quite sure, right? Supremely confident in Gon's ability that he'll make it through. He'll make it all the way to the mansion. But part of him has to be concerned, right? Because if they make it to this point, they'll have to face the family members. But the thing is, if they actually do make it all the way to the mansion, then that is going to be interesting for the family as well, for the members of the family. They are going to take an interest. But yeah, I've got to say, I'm really quite excited for the continuation of this and to see more of the family. Again, like I said earlier, no signs of the father just yet. But again, in the silhouettes, I see the father, I see the great-grandfather and the grandmother. I see the other sibling that Killua is potentially holding hands with, unless, of course, it just kind of looks like that in the silhouette. Maybe that's the one sibling that really kind of connected with Killua, right? On a deeper level, someone who was sympathetic to Killua, though, of course, it seems to be a younger sibling. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing things that are not really there, but maybe just the placement of it makes it look like he's holding hands with one of them. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see the rest of them for sure. But yeah, I think that should do it for this one, folks. really, really enjoyable episode once again. And if you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access or timer-based full length or full opacity, consider checking out the Patreon page and, you know, potentially supporting the channel. If you are interested, the links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media, things like Twitter and Instagram, if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for episode 24. Yes. Until then, take it easy.